Welcome everybody. We are today here to celebrate the 11th of February. Today is 9th of February, but the 11th was a Sunday, so this is why we are celebrating this today. As you most probably know, the 11th of February is the International Day of Girls and Women in Science, and this is the third time that ELISA is holding such an event. Some housekeeping. There are many of us today here, so to avoid background noise and to avoid to facilitate things, your cameras and your mics are closed. So this is why people were asking, your cameras are off and your mics are off. We are also recording the session. That is why also we are not allowing participants to use the camera and the mic. However, the chat is working. Please do share with us all your comments. Do share with us your questions. There will be a space for questions in the second part of this event, and I will be reading your comments and checking the chat. So please do not hesitate to use the chat and put your comments in written. Thank you all again. And without further ado, I would like to give the floor to ELISA Executive Director, Sofia Daguiar. Thank you, Sofia, for being here today with us for this third edition. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Isabel. Good morning to everyone. It's really a pleasure. I'm Sofia Daguiar, as Isabel mentioned, and it's an honor for me to be Executive Director of ELISA. Maybe some of you already know me. ELISA, what it is, European Engineering, Learning, Innovation and Science Alliance. We are an European university, an alliance of 10 universities around 8 countries of Europe: France, Italy, Germany, Romania, Hungary, Turkey, Switzerland, and Spain. And now our journey that started about 3 years ago has been continued. We have been supported again and re-awarded by the European Commission through the Erasmus Plus program, the capacity to continue to pioneer in this mission, that it is to develop, pioneer new models for long-term and sustainable cooperation and integration in the area of education around Europe. This is super important. Of course, the aim of this initiative of European universities is to go far beyond what Erasmus has already put out there as opportunities. And it is an initiative that wants to shape the face of higher education in Europe, goes deeper into the transformation frameworks, setting up long-term cooperations, integration of activities, developing jointly policies, internal policies and European policies. And of course, also cooperating in the field of research innovation is important, because our aim is to unfold a fully fledged European university, touching all the missions of universities, and research innovation is one of us. And today we are here also organized by via the project ELISA InnoCORE, which is the project that develops this innovation and research pillar for ELISA. So today, as Isabel already mentioned, we are commemorating the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, which is a key day for science. So for us too, universities, and particularly for us, a European university, in which inclusion, gender, equality are important and key values. And we know that's just a synergic and a collaboration, new models of collaboration will help us to do something different and to shape different the future. So, of course, we know that women excel in science and in all domains and are duly recognized in this work, but let's not lose in sight that it was not always the case, and still that we have some scientists, females, that can struggle and have not an option to choose scientific paths. So we have been doing progress, but still we know, and we have measured it around ELISA, there are still imbalances that persist. Women are still underrepresented in higher academic ranks and in many scientific fields. So I think this brings us to the core of our discussion. Why this? What are the roles of the narratives? What are the roles of the role models that women may be faithfully encountering their path? And this is a bit the core of the discussion today. So for me, again, it's an honor. It's the third roundtable, always a success and an emotional discussion with so many perspectives. And I'm so honored to have these panelists with us. Thank you for your time and willingness to share your thoughts with us today. Also, thank you to Magda Ludaj that will be moderating this panel today. So Magda is head of the Office of Equality and Diversity at FAU, and she holds a degree in Middle Eastern Studies and Modern History from Friedrich Alexander University, Erlangen-Nuremberg in Germany. And her doctoral thesis deals with the implementation of the United Nations Convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women in the United Arab Emirates. Congrats, Magda, for this track record. And with no further ado, please enjoy this session, take the most of it, and I will give the floor to Magda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for this kind introduction. Hello, everybody. Good morning. A very warm welcome to this third EELISA Roundtable, also from my side. I'm thrilled and honored that I was chosen as a moderator today, representing FAU, the German partner within this EELISA University Alliance. Yeah, indeed, it is the third edition. The journey started 3 years ago. Or 2 years ago. We already had fabulous women with different profiles talking about the realities, opportunities, and challenges faced by women in science. This was an online event. Last year in February, we met in Madrid. We had a very inspiring on-site event. Our topic was parenthood and research careers. We were discussing about challenges, opportunities, barriers for women in the academic field. And now you might think, okay, now we're in 2024. Why do we still need to talk about this issue? Yes, indeed, we need to talk about it because there's still a gender gap when it comes to women in science, especially women in the field of STEM. Of course, I also have good news. Let me give you just one figure. The proportion of female graduates with core STEM degrees is continuously rising. In the European Union, 1/3 of all graduates are women in the field of STEM. But there's still a long way to go. And we're also asking ourselves, what is it, what hinders women entering the field of STEM? Is it a lack of female confidence or lack of mentors, support, lack of female role models? Are there any gender biases or stereotypes we need to combat? So we chose as topic for today's panel, reshaping narratives. I mean, we all know that narratives significantly impact our perceptions and understandings, and that narratives and role models are especially crucial for younger generations or especially young women when choosing their decisions and their field of studies. Of course, at certain times in history and in certain cultural contexts, stereotypes suggest that women are more inclined towards languages, arts, or humanistic fields or disciplines, and men are more analytical, so math and physics are the right choice for men. It is also true that statistics sometimes reinforce these preconceptions, but sometimes not. So today we want to shed light on reshaping narratives and their impact on decisions and how we can change them. This is the important thing. And we have here 8 panelists from our international EELISA community who are actively working towards change through the development of fresh narratives. So thank you all in advance for participating. And I think I will introduce you couple by couple. We prepared a few questions. And as the first topic, we would like to talk about the influence of past and present role models in younger generations. And for this, we have here Edith Chefalvai. She is Associate Professor at the Department of Energy Engineering, Faculty of Mechanical Engineering at Budapest University of Technology. Welcome to the panel. And Claudia Rebollo. She is student in Materials Engineering at Universidad Politécnica de Madrid. I would like to start with you, Edith, because you're the coordinator of the Hungarian Girls' Day as a representative of the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering. When you organize this kind of activities, do you think little girls nowadays are still very much influenced by these old role models and stereotypes?
Thank you very much. First, let me thank you for the invitation and the participation here. And to answer your question, I think, yes, the old role models really has influence. And I think the young generation, especially in grammar school, can get, or they are influenced by their teachers. So if their teachers are motivated, and they like teaching them physics, mathematics, or chemistry, then they are very good motivators to start and turn to these STEM areas. And then we organize these open days, and this is very good. And we offer a lot of programs. And we can show that how many people can have a role in our university as a female professor, a female researcher, and also as female students. So what we are facing too is the personal discussions. So we figured out that during this open day, we group these young girls into small groups, at least 10 or 15 people in one group. And we offered them a program. And by this program, they can go from side to side, from department to department, and from laboratory to laboratory, or can hear some very interesting presentations, or have some influence in a very big lecture hall to see some simulations, or just see what our robots can do. And they are also very interested in our laboratory, where they can be ventilated. That's very interesting. So they can have experience in reality. And what is more important, that I usually invite young students, female students, who are there, let's say, supervisors here during this 4-day tour, 4-hour tour at the university. And they can have also personal communications to them. So these students, active students, are very close to their age. So the students from the grammar school are brave enough to ask from their own generation, and they can have personal motivation. So, and what's next? You asked about the old role models, and I can say that these old role models are very good motivation here. So our first engineer, who was a female one, got the diploma degree more than 100 years ago. And we are celebrating this. And also we have a lecture hall dedicated to our first engineer. And there's a very nice exhibition there. So during this open day, we also share this information and show this exhibition to this young generation. And yes, they are interested. And I think all of this can have influence on them. And the last thing I would like to mention, that during these laboratory tours, our young PhD students, so female ones, can explain the importance of their subject, what they learn, let's say, from physics, and they can show the connection between this interesting laboratory practice and the physics. So they are then very much influenced there. So thank you very much.
So we've learned this is encouraging and empowering for young female pupils to get an insight to undergraduate studies in STEM areas, right?
Yes, and also I ask my colleagues, professors, if they can give a short speech about their motivation. What was the motivation 20 years ago or 30 years ago? So they can hear a presentation on that. But I think the first case information from female students is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Information is the keyword for our next panelist, Claudia Rebollo from Madrid. You are the director and producer of the series of podcasts titled I Want to Be a Female Engineer. Well, Claudia, more than 50 programs broadcasted, millions of views on social media. I would say this podcast is a real success. From your point of view, what has been the key ingredient for such a success?
Thank you very much, Magda. I think that in the program, we do emphasize role model in age, young women mostly, but it's not just peer-to-peers or young women. We also have interview professors, executives from Google, Airbus, FreeNow, Valeo. So I think that what really makes this podcast a success, as you said, is that the conversations are real, are fun, and most importantly, I think that they explain the STEM careers in a way that is not, I think, that the conventional one, because sometimes, in my opinion, like it doesn't fully connect with the audience. That I think that this is a really, really important thing, the communication of what are STEM careers, Reconnecting to your question, the woman who comes to the program, no matter the age, all have had a very similar experience, the same doubts, the same biases, the same fears, but in the end, they always end up achieving what they were dreaming of. So I think it is also a way of sending a message to the young women that watch us. So everyone face situations in life that I think that are scary. Everyone makes mistakes, but at the end, the important thing is that everyone can overcome it or fix it. So I think that the message is like, if we have been able to achieve it, if we have been able to do an engineer, for example, in my case, you can do it too. So, and also I think that this is not just a reflection that we made out on our own, because we also receive a lot of messages of thanks from girls who tell us, Clau, thanks to your program, those fears that I have disappeared. Thanks to your program, I have discovered that what I really want to do was doing an engineering, for example. thanks to your program also, the girls have discovered that they really wanna, they understand now what STEM careers are and what opportunity they have. So in conclusion, I think that the important thing is not just that we are young women talking about STEM careers. I think that the important thing is that we explain what is a STEM career in a point of view like close, fun, in a conversational way that the girls that are hearing us can be reflected, can find close role models. So, and also I think that's really important, not in a really technique way, so everyone can understand it. And also I want to mention that this podcast is not just an audible podcast. You can see it also in social media, in TikTok, in Instagram, YouTube, you know, like every single social media that now the teenagers are using. So yeah, I think that this is mostly my answer. Thank you, Magda.
Yeah, thank you. And what I think there are two stories within your podcast, because one is reshaping narratives, the storytelling about female STEM careers and what the studies are all about. And you're also changing maybe what's in the head of many people when they're thinking of STEM or technology.
Of course.
Yes.
I think that it's really important. It's really important to change the mind of the society. Also because, as I said, like we're when we have to choose what we want to do, we are just teenagers, you know, like we are full of insecurities, full of biases, as I mentioned before. So I think that is really important from the beginning to let the young girls to understand what is a STEM career, that are funny, that you can do it, that is not too difficult that the people tell, you know. So yes, I think that
yes, and I think you also show that the STEM disciplines are multifaceted and they can be creative as well.
Of course. This is also a really important thing. Like usually people think that engineering, for example, in my case, material engineering it's just like maths, mechanical, something like that. And it's also really, really creative. I think the STEM careers. And it's really important to let people know this thing.
Okay, Claudia, thank you so much for your great work. So now let's shed light on history and the past. Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's not a stereotype because in the past centuries, science has been a typically male-dominated field. It is like it is, but that's what we would like to change now. It is true that history has overlooked the work of women scientists, and maybe we could even say that women scientists were written out of history, because I think all of you could make a test within your working or private environment. Ask somebody to name a famous female scientist, they would say, "Ooh, I don't know, maybe Marie Curie" would come into their mind, and that was it. But they won't have any difficulty in naming plenty of male scientists, we all know. And Andrea Van Dien wants to change the narrative as well. He's associate professor in computer science at Sant'Anna, Italy, School for Advanced Studies. And Andrea, you have been giving a lecture called Eroine poco conosciute dell'informatica to high school students about two key women in science history. This is Ada Lovelace and Grace Hopper. Why do you think, Andrea, it is important bringing their history back to the present?
Hi, Magda. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the question. Well, let me first translate the title in English. Is, let's say, we could say, unknown heroes, female heroes of computer science. So, as you pointed out, Magda, at the opening of this event, it is known that there are not enough women in STEM, and this at all levels, in private sector, in academia, but also at the level of students. And you listed a few possible reasons for this. And one of these that motivated me is that probably young women tend to not choose STEM topics when they decided what to study. And this is a European, but also world level phenomena. And in fact, there are several initiatives to try to address this issue. We just heard about two from Edith and from Claudia. Personally, I witnessed something from my former institution, DTU in Denmark, and also here in Sant'Anna, something very close to what Edith was mentioning. Young women that are close to completing high school studies are invited to our university, to our labs, to experience, to get a feeling about what it means to study STEM and similar. On a much smaller scale, I try to contribute to these efforts in changing the narratives and role models of STEM among youngest generations. In particular, I've been involved in initiatives where every year, 3-4 high or more high school classes are invited to our university to attend several presentations. And I talk about two famous women in computer science once you enter in computer science, but maybe they are not so famous before you enter. And they are Ada Lovelace, who is the first programmer in history, not the first female programmer, the first programmer in history, and Grace Hopper, who is the inventor of the idea of compilers, meaning that we can write programs in sort of human understandable language, and we can translate it to more difficult to understand languages. She is also the inventor of the term bug. Whenever you heard that there is a bug in my program, an error, she found an actual bug, an insect in the Mark II computer where she was working as an US Navy officer. So yes, every year I have the chance to introduce these role models, to tell to explain the figure of these women. And this was somehow originated from my teaching activities, because I teach introduction to computer science and machine learning to non-computer science students, social sciences, medicine, law. There are plenty of women there. And so from there, I had the inspiration. Let me close with a curiosity. You were talking about the female scientist. 2 days ago, I had a lunch with a prominent female computer scientist, Fosca Giannotti. She told me, I didn't know this curiosity, the term scientist didn't exist until 1833. Before then, the term was man of science. So by definition, and then apparently a philosopher, William Whewell, invented the term scientist when referring to Mary Somerville, a female scientist from 1780. And many things changed, but for example, Grace Hopper in 1969 got a prize. The prize was named Man of the Year Award, and Grace is a female. So things changed, but not too much. Luckily, 10 years later, this title has been renamed in Distinguished Information Sciences Award. This was a title about computer science, men and female, but still the prize that Grace got was Man of the Year. So I hope that even this small scale events will help, like introducing these figures to high school students will help improving more and more in this direction.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is really interesting. What came into my mind right now is, I mean, we're talking about students, high school students, but I wonder, I mean, what about the curriculum and all these school books? I think they need to be redesigned as well, right? To bring these female achievements back into, into life.
Yes, definitely. Even just, I mean, you know, you mentioned Marie Curie. Marie Curie was the surname of the husband Now, only recently, we added also the original surname in the European prizes. Yes, for example, for Ada and Grace, a lot has been done. Every year in December, if I remember well, we celebrate the Ada Lovelace Day, and but also for Grace, and there is also a programming language not too popular at the moment, dedicated to Ada Lovelace, named Ada, and also for Grace, many events are connected to her memory. That if you Google online, you find the Grace Hopper Award, and there are books with comics published by editors in the world that present the story of these two heroes, also before high school. So they made the story of these two heroes as a cartoon in some sense to express. Yes, I hope this answered your question.
You can also use the new media opportunities we have now to bring them into consciousness. Thank you so much, Andrea, for your great work, and keep going. I would like to continue with Gül Aydın. Welcome to the panel. You're a PhD candidate at ITU, Istanbul Technical University, and your PhD project examines the first women engineers of Turkey who lived in the early Turkish Republican era in the context of science, technology, and gender. What is it about? Hi.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am so happy and glad to meet you. Firstly, I would like to thank EELISA very much for providing me such a great opportunity to share my experience here. And right, yes, my project actually probably will be the first one in Turkey. First of all, I would like to explain how we started this research. Actually, although women's studies have improved in recent years, I can say that the historical and theoretical perspectives, researches on the history of women in engineering is still very limited and restricted in Turkey. And about 3 years ago, when I decided to choose my PhD thesis topic, I talked with my supervisor, Professor Dr. Tuncay Zorlu. He's from ITU, from Sociology Department. We realized that while women's studies in our country was making big efforts to reveal women in other fields such as literature, art, science, but it was very big question that there wasn't even a single academic study on history of women in history of women engineers and students in Turkey until the first quarter of the 21st century. And on the other hand, our institution's ITU is the oldest engineering school in Turkey, which dates back 1773. And it has a military background. And also we saw that the first women engineers graduate from ITU in 1933. So ITU is the first educational institution in Turkey to offer women opportunity to receive engineering education and to practice their profession. And then we saw that there was just one research regarding the first women engineers in Turkey. It was about Sabiha Rıfat Gürayman, the first woman engineer who graduated from ITU in 1933. But it is surprising that her classmate, whose name is Melek Erbu, had never been researched before. And then we realized that an ideal woman portrait had been created in the history of women in engineering, and in every special day, in every event, only her name was highlighted and mentioned. And we were listening to the same stories, but we know that we don't need to repeat them. We need to ask a new question and come up with new stories, create new narratives. And we have very big, very large historical archive at ITU. When I started to work in this archive, during my studies in this archive, I realized that there was a significant number of women engineers who are waiting to be discovered and researched. In these states between 1928 and 42, that I have been researching now, we have identified exactly 10 women, and 7 of them graduates, while 3 of them didn't continue their studies. Actually, I can say that it was very difficult to find them because none of them are alive today, and they were born in 1910 on average. And I tried to reach their children, grandchildren, families, relatives, and yes, but they are very old, but still we still got a lot of information from them by the help of oral history studies. And if we come to, if I come to your question, yes, there are more files in the history, women's history in engineering that need to be studied in Turkey. Also, there are more questions need to be asked. Yes, thank you.
How much field is still uncovered? What would you say when it comes to female scientists in Turkey?
Sorry, could you repeat again?
Yes, how much field is still uncovered? Gül?
Yes, uncovered. Actually, as I said, in from 1928, between 1928 and 1942, this in this that I have been researching, we have identified 10 women, and I am focusing on that 10 women, and but 3 of them didn't continue their studies, and I have 7 women graduates from ITU, and because because of the ITU is the oldest technical school of Turkey, the first women engineers were graduates from ITU. And now we know just 7 of them between these states. But of course, after these states, there are so many women engineers waiting to be discovered. Almost, I can say that maybe 20 or 25. But we also have architects. They are also waiting to be discovered. But now I'm focusing on this 7 women. I will explain later.
Yeah, great. So there's still a lot of research to be done. That sounds good. Thank you so much for your initiative, Gül. Next, we would like to address 2 issues: the concept of intersections and the underrepresentation of women in certain fields, such as mathematics. And I would like to welcome to the panel Olivia Negoita. She's Associate Professor, hold on, it's a long title, the Faculty of Entrepreneurship, Business Engineering and Management at the National University of Science and Technology, Polytechnica Bucharest. Hello, welcome. And I would like to introduce Hi, Virginie Erlacher. She is a mathematics researcher at École des Ponts Paris-Tech. I would like to start with Olivia. You coordinated the EduCare project to support first-year vulnerable female students to complete their engineering studies. It seems here that we're talking about what is called intersections of factors. That means women and vulnerable groups. Could you elaborate on this topic?
Yes, thank you, Magda, for your question. Yes, these stereotypes are, you said it, are heavier
Or are stereotypes,
question,
yes, you mentioned it, heavier when you come from vulnerable or so-called vulnerable groups. Yes, let's put it that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The question touches on the concept of intersectionality, where various identities, their associated challenges overlap and create unique experiences. So when it comes to the underrepresentation of women in fields like mathematics or other additional fields in STEM, the difficulties faced by women from vulnerable groups are, let's say, influenced by multiple disadvantages. For example, the combined impact of gender bias and the societal challenges faced by their specific vulnerable group, like a low social economic background or minority ethnicity, can create a heavier burden, amplifying their feelings of isolation or doubt or sometimes pressure. Also, another case is, for example, limited support systems, where vulnerable groups often have fewer resources and support networks, and these are making it harder to challenge stereotypes and navigate barriers. Another factor is the internalized stereotypes, when the constant exposure to negative stereotypes, both about their gender or their vulnerable group, can lead to internalized beliefs that hinder self-confidence and motivation. So it's also important not to, or to avoid generalization because of, for example, the individual experiences. So each woman has unique experiences and resilience. So the impact of stereotypes can vary greatly. Some women may have more adept of overcoming them, while others may struggle more. Also because of positive intersections, sometimes belonging to multiply groups can also lead to unexpected strengths and resources. For example, a woman from a minority community might connect with mentors or role models who share their experiences and understand her challenges. So my EduCare project highlights this complexity by specifically targeting first-year vulnerable female students. My project recognized the intersectionality challenges they face and aims to alleviate their burden. So this targeted approach can be more effective than general interventions, as it addresses the specific needs and experiences of these women. So as a conclusion, stereotypes can indeed feel heavier for women from vulnerable groups due to the combination of disadvantages that they are facing. However, individual experiences vary, so it's important to avoid generalization. So that's why my project addressed intersectional challenges, and project played, let's say, a crucial role in supporting these women and promoting greater gender equality in STEM fields.
Thank you so much. I think this intersectional approach is really important when it comes especially to women, because it's not only about, these gender issue. It's also that women are very often facing multiple forms of negative impact, discrimination, etc. So thank you so much for this EduCare project. I also learned that your project proposes coachings and several learning activities. Could you tell us something about that?
Yes. Yes. The activities within my project were, let's say, complex because they didn't only focus on the subject matter activities, they were also focused on mentoring. The academic staff was mentoring the students, and the students benefit from remedials like mathematics, physics, digital marketing, e-commerce, also professional counseling and career guidance, coaching and personal development, development of emotional skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you very much for this great initiative. I would like to introduce Virginie Erlacher now from École de Pont Paris-Tech. Virginie, you've been carrying out numerous interventions for years, targeting in general the younger audience, and you want to promote mathematics among girls. Your project is called Mathematics Feminine Name. Do you think mathematics are still perceived as a male thing, even nowadays?
So, hi everyone, very nice to be with you. Thank you, Magda, for the question. I would say it really depends on the persons you are talking to. To give you some testimony, I'm the only female permanent researcher of my lab out of 20, and it's been now 10 years I've been working there, and I never experienced any problem related to gender stereotypes of whatever. I mean, when we are working all together, I mean, nobody cares. The only important thing is the quality of your work and the originality of your ideas. Just to say that it's possible and that it should be normality. And unfortunately, I hear a lot of women colleagues who cannot say that they have had the same luck. And so that's one point. However, indeed, I experienced some situation where actual gender stereotypes were just present. Just to give you an example, I did some military service when I was a student of École Polytechnique, and there I heard the surgeon saying that texto, mathematics are harder for girls than for boys. He didn't know about my background or the background of the people he was talking to, right? But I'm quite thankful I never heard such kind of sentences before I reached that stage of my studies, right? Before that moment, I have never heard anyone say such things. And so, and I think it was clearly very important in my career, the fact that I've always been encouraged in pursuing scientific studies because that's what I wanted to do, without having any bias related to the fact that I was a woman. This indeed helped in choosing this career, but I would say that unfortunately this kind of stereotypes still survive, and the fact that women are much underrepresented in sciences is definitely one of the facts that doesn't help in making this disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I see when I talk to young girls in middle school or high school. Some of them hear that kind of messages from their own, from the people of their families or whatever. And so they fear a lot in engaging themselves into science because of that.
So out of your experience, you would say at first boys and girls are neutral and very interested, and then it's the family and society which hinders them choosing certain fields of studies?
I'm not sure. It's a complicated question. What I can see, at least at the level of middle or high school, definitely young girls have much more fear than boys to engage into scientific studies. Where it comes from, it's very difficult to say. Whether it's a lack of confidence, whether it's the kind of messages that they hear from their relatives. It's very complicated. I think each and everyone's experience is unique from that respect.
Yeah, I think
but definitely there's more fear from the girls than from the boys.
Yeah, you're right. We would need to dig deeper, but maybe this lack of confidence or is a sort of implemented in the girls by society, families, and their environment. This could be a case because I think there's no such thing. Girls are not talented for technology or mathematics, and boys are by nature.
What's sure is that some of them hear their parents or relatives saying, you shouldn't do science. So at least a portion of them. You shouldn't do science because they are too difficult studies and you won't succeed in them. And I'm almost sure that the people who say these messages do not do it, they think they're doing it for their own good. I'm sure a lot of them are convinced of that. But and it's quite difficult to say to some young girls that their relatives or their parents may be wrong in saying that. But that's I think it's important to carry this message.
Yeah, I think this is a really great project. So we could stick to the saying, you can be what you can see. So if female mathematicians share their experiences and their thoughts about their work and their career path, I think they're great role models for the younger generation, especially for girls.
Well, definitely, I think the fact that there are women scientists that are recognized in their fields for the quality of their research or of their work when it comes to engineering, for instance, definitely, it has a tremendous importance.
What do you think about female networks in science? Are there any at École de Pont, for example?
There are representatives of equality gender. I wouldn't say there is a network yet. However, it's there are interactions forming. I don't think that they have taken really, let's say, an official form. I think for me, the most important thing is that there should be some place, some persons to whom a young woman should address herself, should talk to if she encounters some kinds of problems or some kind of doubts. That's important that such kind of official person or group exists.
Well, thank you so much for your very inspiring initiatives. Yeah, to the audience, until now we have heard about many fabulous individual actions, but having resources and putting in place initiatives at an institutional level is also important. And here we have two examples. This is the FAU publication, The Sky's the Limit, and the MOOC on Women Leaders in Sciences. We will hear something about these two projects, and I would like to begin with Stephanie Klostermeier. Hello. Stephanie, you're one of the female scientists which have been featured in FAU's publication, The Sky's the Limit, which was a collaboration between the Office of Equality and Diversity here at FAU and the Research Training Group Frascal at the Faculty of Engineering. Stephanie, you studied at FAU, you've been to Harvard, and you gained your PhD at the Max Planck Center for Medicine and Physics. What did you think when we contacted you for this publication and the interview?
Yeah, thank you first of all for the invitation. I'm really excited to be here. I was very excited when I saw it. On one hand, of course, because it's an honor to be featured in such a great publication, but also on the other hand, seeing so many female scientists in different roles and like having role models to see their path also in like multifaceted backgrounds, that was so amazing to see. And I think FIU is really great in supporting young female STEM students. I was also part of the gender and diversity support for going abroad. And that was so amazing. In the beginning, I thought, okay, is this possible for me? Can I do it? And I felt really supported by gender and diversity. So thank you so much again for that also.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you're contacted and you're asked to talk about your own biography and your own career path, many women especially say, oh, I don't know, it's not that interesting. Was it interesting for you to look back how it began and just reflecting on your own academic journey?
Yeah, it was really interesting to see. In the beginning, so I studied molecular medicine, and then I thought, okay, there's a missing piece, and that was like 3D cell culture for developing a better system to understand Alzheimer's disease. And then I thought, okay, what do I have to learn to like find a solution for this big like question? And when I started in material science and engineering, I was really happy that even though we had most of the times I was with boys in my studies, they were really open-minded and supported me also. So yeah, it was really nice looking back in the time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for giving us an insight. And I would like to introduce you Camille Roger. She is Deputy Head of International Relations at PSL. And Camille, you have contributed to the creation of the MOOC on women leaders in science. I don't know whether everybody is familiar with the term MOOC. Maybe you could elaborate on this? Just a few words.
Oh,
Camille?
yes. The MOOC is a tool, in fact, where you can find many materials like informative material, something you can read, something you can watch, something you can hear, a different kind of content. But the advantage of this kind of tool is that it's more fun. I mean, an easy way to learn and to remember things. So you can do some quiz, you have a method of evaluation. So we thought it was a good tool to talk about gender equality and this kind of topics.
And what is the spirit of the MOOC and what is the main intention?
So this MOOC, in fact, was part of the strategy and work plan within ELISA, all the work we were doing within ELISA. It was part of the deliverable. So I had to confess that this MOOC is far from perfect. We worked on that with very tight deadlines. But what we try to do is to initiate something we could enrich afterwards with the other partners. So within ELISA, we share common objectives in the promotion of gender balance and social diversity and inclusion. And we try to integrate within our university a greater diversity of students. So we wanted to do that through this MOOC. We know that number of studies show that women discard the choice of pursuing careers in science and research quite early. We already talked about that a lot in this roundtable. And with that in mind, with my colleagues, we thought it was a good idea to create this tool, this MOOC, that can be used individually for young girls who are questioning themselves, but also during presentation in schools, for, broader presentations to try to have a good influence. So this MOOC is entitled Women Leaders in Sciences, not only in engineering, but in sciences. And the main objective was to strengthen inclusion and diversity in science. And with my colleagues, to talk about the spirit of the MOOC, we had few challenges in mind. We needed to have something adaptable enough to be used not only in France, but also in the different part of Europe, in the different partner university, for example, in ELISA. We wanted to provide content based on women of our institutions. We wanted to create our own role models. We talked a lot about role models in this roundtable. And we wanted to present information in a easy to remember and interesting way. We tried to, in fact. So the MOOC is, just to give you an overview, is divided in different parts. The first one is delivering information in a way we try to do something more fun through a quiz. It's the MOOC helped to do that. We presented data and concept using a quiz format, and we talked about the Matilda effect. You know, this kind of concept we have to have in mind. And facts are very important, but role models, as I was saying, and testimonials are very important. So we try to identify these models within PSL, within the university. And it's very interesting to notice that if you pay attention on that, you find plenty of role models. And we have many examples in this roundtable. It's easy to find women doing sciences in their daily life, facing some challenges because they are women, but also trying to find solutions and enjoying a lot what they are doing. So the aim was to offer several profiles so that our young students could identify easily with one of them. We had a CEO in renewable energy, we had a doctoral student in engineering, we had a researcher in cognitive sciences. You see a broader overview of profiles. We also used an interesting tool with one of our component institution, MIN, an engineering school, work on a very good documentary with many role models from the school, students and also professionals. So we could use some extracts from this very good material and give it another life, in fact, through this MOOC with a quiz at the end and so on. And the key message from these testimonies is not only to say, okay, it's difficult as a woman to start a career in sciences. The main message was to say it's difficult, we face challenges, but anything is possible. And women are good at science and can fulfill their potentials by doing sciences. So it's a message of hope, in fact, for our young girls who are questioning themselves. So we try, in fact, as the title of this roundtable, to reshape narrative and give local narratives from our university. I will stop here.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think this is really interesting, and thank you all for your fabulous contributions. It's very enriching and nourishing listening to all these initiatives and projects, because now we're really an international panel. So many different countries, universities represented, focusing on the same issue, and thinking out of the box is so important, and being creative. And I have many more questions, but maybe, I don't know, Isabel, do you think we should give some room for questions from the audience? Have there been any questions in the chat?
Yeah, hi,
maybe
Magda.
this is the right time, Isabel.
Yeah, sure. We are right on time. Perfect timing. I want to encourage again all participants to leave their questions on the chat. We have two comments. There is one comment first from Estefania Camaño. And she says that talking about language, it would be desirable to evolve the 11th of February International Day into International Day of Girls and Women in Science and Engineering. And she asked, what do you think? To add, I add a comment myself, because there is a day of women in engineering. It is the 23rd of June. So it might be a good idea to merge both days. Who knows? What do our panelists think? Or Magda, who would like to react? Maybe we should merge far too many days commemorating things.
Any comments from the panelists?
What do you think, Claudia? Should we have...
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
The question is that Estefania said that if we should turn the day of this day, the 11th of February, into the International Day of Girls and Women in Science and Engineering. And there is another day, the 23rd of June, that is the day celebrating women in engineering. So I was thinking that maybe we should merge the days.
Yes, it's an option. I mean, I think that the important thing is that every single day is the day of women, and we make these beautiful initiatives. And I mean, there's no even, in my opinion, there's not important just one day. Like, it's important to work every single day in these initiatives, you know, so we can do whatever we want.
Good. We also had, I'm gonna read, yeah. Sure? Sorry, I don't know who was talking.
Yeah, sorry, Isabel. Yeah, I agree with my my colleague. It's we can merge the dates and also to have the international day and International Day of Girls and Women in Science and Engineering, if I understood correctly. That will be in June, right?
23rd of June is the day of, let me tell you, it's the International Women in Engineering Day.
Well, I think these days are there to commemorate and just it's a good opportunity to come together, you know, and initiate roundtables like this, events, exhibitions, conferences. But as Claudia said, every day is important, of course.
Yeah, and we have questions. I'm going to read one more. This is it's more a comment. Sorry, just a sec. Give me a second.
Yes, I also encourage just comments. I mean, questions.
Yeah.
Maybe there's been something inspiring where the audience says, "Oh, this could be interesting for my university as well."
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find the message. There is a comment from Claudia Barnickel, and she says, I would like to share a narrative from my professional context. She says that she's in charge of the medical engineering program at FAU, and that they have 52% of female students in their bachelor's program, which makes it unique. And she says feedback from our female students shows that they chose the program because they want to apply STEAM skills for social good, improving patients' lives, etc. So she says maybe should we consider this aspect more when advertising STEM programs to a female target group? And Ana Lordeiro replies that, yeah, she, in a talk from Birgit Lutz recently at FAU, she said that she thought that she succeeded in being an expedition leader despite being a woman, but she later realized that she succeeded because she is a woman. People like to go on expeditions with her because she's attentive of people's abilities and needs. So again, this aspect of caring, of doing social good. I know. What do you think, Magda, about this?
And how did
After
I'm
that,
interested?
yeah,
I'm interested in this aspect. How did it show? I mean, did they tell her, or did she notice it by certain actions?
oh, we don't know. It's a comment.
So it's in the
But
chat. Okay, maybe she's there
it,
still.
it is true that statistically, medical studies, there is a perfect gender balance in medical studies. However, there are some other fields of studies where imbalances still persist, ICT, for instance. And I had already heard about this aspect of the social part of this doing good and caring for other people. That is also important. That could explain why in medicine gender balance we reach gender balance. So what do you think, Stephanie? You think that that could be an aspect that we should promote more this that STEM are also for doing good, for engineering is also for caring?
Yeah, I think the combination of like where to apply the STEM studies that you are doing more in a like day-to-day context, that would be helpful. For example, material science and engineering, I'm not sure if the first thing you could think of is like applying it to drug discovery, for example, but it's a huge aspect. So like bringing it one level more easy to understand where to apply it, that would be maybe helpful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. We have more questions on the chat. Maybe, Magda, you want to also we have more, we can...
Yeah, go on. And then I have some questions indeed. We could continue with the panelists. If there are questions in the chat, I don't know.
We have,
It's interesting, the last one, maybe?
We have one...
I can read it as well if you like.
Yeah, please, because I can't see. I see the chat, but sometimes I can't read that well. Yeah, you could read the question.
Yeah, we have one question. How important is the fact that in most places it is women who teach the children in the lower classes, that it is women who determine young children's attitudes to science? This is true.
Magda, if you allow me, perhaps I can react on this question.
Yeah.
So there was also another question related before. Someone was asking whether the fact that young girls are more attracted to the literature history and are not attracted to sciences, whether it comes at an early stage and where it comes from. So perhaps do both in one go. Just first, I would like to tell about an experiment that has been done on young pupils in school, roughly the age of 7 or 8, if I'm not mistaken. So there was a test which was proposed to young boys and girls, okay, and it was exactly the same test, but for one group of students, it was presented as a drawing test, and for another group of students, it was presented as a geometry test, but exactly the same exercise, right? And it was observed that when the test was presented as a drawing test, girls would perform much better than when it was presented as a geometry test, despite the fact that it was exactly the same content of the exercise. So there is indeed some kind of bias, and somehow it seems that girls, when you talk to them about and you present the exercise as a math, as an exercise related to math or science, somehow strangely they kind of inhibit themselves, and it's indeed so, and it was for very young age children. So indeed, there seems that there is a kind of biases, self-assessed biases that are created at a very early stage. And there was a question on whether the fact that teachers are mostly women for young children, whether it has an influence or not. I do not know about that, but what is sure, I only know about figures in France, so I don't know about in other countries. But what is sure is that teachers in France, most of the time, didn't like maths or science themselves. So I think this produces a bias more than the fact of having a teacher being a woman or a man, because you cannot make, well, I think it's difficult to make children like a discipline when you don't like it yourself. I don't know how the situation is in other countries, but definitely in France, there is a strong bias due to the fact that most teachers didn't like maths or sciences. So I hope it brings some partial answers to some of the questions related to.
Yeah, thank you, Virginie. I think this is really important because if you're not convinced, how can you convince others? I mean, this is true. And now I found another question in the chat. It's quite similar. Yolanda Pividal asked a question to all panelists. I have a teenage daughter currently studying in secondary school. She consistently expresses how boring and uninteresting her math and chemistry classes are, as opposed to those of literature or history, even when the teacher is a woman. How do you think this issue is deeply rooted in early stages of education? Do you believe that changing the way these classes are taught in primary and secondary school and preparing school teachers to be aware of the impact they leave could have an effect? What do you think, Edith? You're nodding?
Yeah. So can I have a comment?
Yeah, please.
I think the high school teachers really have an effect on the students there. So their personal motivation is very highly appreciated if they have. If they lost their own motivation, then that's really bad. So it's a kind of ignition, or so fired out. So I think that teacher shall go on vacation and then refresh herself. And in the case of the students, I highly recommend to go and participate these open programs. I think not only my university, but other universities organize open day or children's university or other PR activities, when they can have a personal insight. So from my point of view, I can say that my colleagues here are very highly motivated. And if a high school student come here and can be involved in some laboratory experiment in 15 or 20 minutes, and we see the importance of physics, mathematics, and other basic science subjects, then it will be a very good motivation, I think.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Edith. Any other comments?
Yes. In my opinion, I don't think that it matters if there was a woman teacher or a man teacher. Regarding to the question of Yolanda Pividal, I think it's about the person, the teacher, it's him or herself. If he knows how to transfer knowledge to the students, that's important. Not being, well, of course, sometimes we as women can be more, like a mother to our students, to our children. So maybe it's easier for us to transfer our knowledge to our students. But I don't think that it's really, really related if you are a woman or a man as a teacher. It depends how you have, as Edith said, if you are motivated, if you know how to work with the students. That's more important, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think the questions tackle an important factor that good teachers, or what it calls good teachers, should be a source of inspiration and light the fire for their subjects somewhat. And maybe we need a sort of redesigning teachers' curriculum when they're still students for the prospective teachers, that there's some more room for creativity and inspiration and different paths, thinking out of the box. Changing the narrative and school books as well. I think this all could be important to change the overall picture if you just have a look at the big picture. Edith, did you want to
Can I add a comment?
Yeah, Andrea, go ahead.
Hello, hi. So personally, I had the feeling, at least at high school level, professors are trying to use online learning tools or gamified tools. For example, when I host these high school students, but also secondary school students, it happened a few times. I use some online gamified quizzes. I use Kahoot, for example, and students, they all know what this thing is, so they use it a lot. And some other times I use Scratch, which is a sort of Lego, but for programming. You put together blocks. So they are trying to, there are updates with respect to when I was at school. And maybe I would like to give a provocative answer to there was a question related to the fact that in primary school, most of the teachers are female, women. And I mean, this is also one of the things we would like to change with events like today, no? Because if it is true that women don't go for STEM because they don't find it fitting for themselves, they probably go to teaching primary school because they believe in the rhetoric it is more fitting for them. So this is also one thing we would like to change, I guess, with these events. And we were also discussing having one day or two to celebrate, to getting together. And I have to say, since I had to prepare for today, I was meeting some colleagues, female or males, telling them, look, I'm going to do this thing, this event. And everyone had its own perspective. Like a professor from Vienna in Austria told me some other famous names in Vienna. So yes, okay. I wanted to give an overview to some of the answers seen before.
Or is it too late, maybe, if we start all these initiatives at the high school level or at university? Because there's another comment in the chat by Elena Cuesta. And she says, all studies show that the difference between girls and boys, their interest in STEM and their own perception of being able to study these fields begin in elementary school. Or should we even start in kindergarten? What do you think? And then we could also think of all these stereotypes, in the toy industry, the pink toys for the girls and adults, and the little kitchens for the caring girls, and the cars and all these blue items for the boys. Maybe everything is interlinked somewhat. What do you think, Gül? How is your opinion? Is it similar in Turkey, the situation, or?
Yes, I think so. I would like to give an example from Nuremberg toy museums.
Okay.
I saw many examples there, and I saw some technological toys for man, and for boy, yes. And there is some irons for girl, for iron toys. There's some toys for girl and some toys for boy. And yes, of course, they are restricted. I think, of course, they start from kindergarten. I think they start from born.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in some initiatives or Girls' Day, there's some projects when it comes to chemistry or so. They say, oh, let's make cosmetics and lipstick. And so you're also into the stereotype thing. You did? No, not in Hungary.
So I just want to add something. I'm pretty involved in this topic because I have a 5-year-old daughter. And to be honest, my husband just offered a new game to our daughter. And so my husband started teaching chess to this small girl, and she's really interested. And I think this is also an opportunity at the kindergarten. So at the kindergarten, they also have some extra activities like ballet or swimming, or just acting something, or some playing tales. But this is also a kind of course. And if they have a possibility to learn logics and also the rules, they can be committed to kind of logical things like mathematics. But I will tell you what is the result in the, let's say, 1 or 2 or 3 years more in the future.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll meet you again. Yes, this is interesting. But now our discussion somewhat brings me to a question, maybe personal question. Oh, we didn't talk about it in advance, but maybe you can answer it spontaneously. In which narratives have you been brought up? Questions to our panelists. What have you faced? Have there been any stereotypes, or have you been combating gender biases within family or your social surroundings at school? Would you mind sharing personal experiences with us? Can I start with you, Andrea? I'm just following the videos on my screen.
Difficult question. So what comes to my mind is that the Italian language is a bit not too good in this sense. No, there is a lot of discussion. You know, the prime minister is a woman, but prime minister in Italian is a masculine, is a primo ministro, which means masculine. So there is I think this comes from Latin. There is certain roles by default, important roles in society by default have a masculine, like lawyer is avvocato. You can translate, you can modify it in avvocatessa, but it sounds somehow strange. And yeah, I guess this has an impact, and not everyone is sure about how to address this, because one says, some women say, no, if I am primo ministro, you call me primo ministro, not prima ministra. For example, this is the point of the prime minister. Some others instead insist you should change. If I am a lawyer, call me avvocatessa. Instead, for other jobs, it is more common to have the feminine name, like maestra is the teacher for kindergarten or primary school. So yeah, probably there is this came to my mind when you asked the question, and we are discussing whether how to address, how to solve this issue. I think English doesn't have this problem. I think German has a similar problem. What is your impression in this respect?
Oh, I think we need an extra roundtable to elaborate on this highly emotional led debate about the gender inclusive language in Germany. It's multifaceted and very interesting. Yes, we could talk about that as well. Yes, this is true. But I was thinking of your own experiences. I mean, now you're a man, you're the only man here in our round. But when you think about maybe siblings or female mates in your childhood, have there been different expectations for you in Italy? Stereotypes, classmates, I don't know.
No, I don't know. In high school, we were only males for 5 years because I was studying in a technical institute on computer science. So this is probably also why the starting point of my initiatives are that female don't go too much to this technical institute. Now things are actually getting better. I have a younger cousin studying there, same path, same school, and there are many more female in school. Yeah, no, I don't know about stereotypes and about the environment.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
don't know what to say.
Maybe Stephanie, would you like to share some personal experiences? How about your family? Have there been any expectations for you as the daughter? Or have you been completely free to choose whatever you liked? Or have your parents been your inspiration, maybe coming from a technical background?
So I think my father is capable of like repairing everything. So he's a big role model. And when I was really little, I saw him always like repairing something in the house or with the car. And that was really inspiring to see that something is like broken and then he can fix it. And I was really curious to learn how to repair stuff. So yeah, that was really nice to see early on.
Mm-hmm. Olivia, do you have any experiences or at school? How was the situation in Romania? It would be interesting for us.
You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Olivia, you.
Sorry. In Romania, we were because we were. I was born during the Ceausescu period, in communist period. We were taught that we have to do everything by ourselves. We were not raised like this generation is raised. We are women, we can't do that, and that's a man's job. We were taught to do everything by ourselves. We are forced to learn how to manage ourselves. So for me, I don't see any difference or I don't feel any difference around me as me being a female. But I can say that during the years in our country, women began to be more accepted in high management positions. For example, as Andrea said, a prime minister or minister as a female minister or as a female prime minister. Also, from my point of view as a student, a female student, many years ago when I was a student, I was studying mechanical engineering, and at that time we were only 2 or 3 girls in my entire year of let's say 60 students. So as the years pass by, we can see more students in the field of engineering, and that's a good thing. But that's what I can say about my country.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we could jump over to Turkey, Gül. situation in Turkey when it comes to women in STEM? Are there these, is there this great variety of initiatives like in other countries? Or is it something new?
Actually, yes, I think it could be the same with other countries. I'm graduated from social science, so I don't exposure something like pressures, but I have some examples from the women I have been researching. For example, some women, these women that I have been researching, they were exposed to gender roles in their early years of their career, and they were usually asked, how can a woman be an engineer? And because of, yes, but I can say that on the other hand, society shows them great respect because of their education and their profession. Yes, I can say that.
Mm-hmm. Are they also visible in the media, for example? Because I just read a study in Germany tackling during the pandemic. There always men have been invited, you know, as experts, talking about medical issues and the pandemic. So I think it's also important that they are visible as experts in the internet, in television, in the radio, just to get visible and share their expertise as well. How is it in France, maybe? Because you've been nodding, Camille, I think.
Oh, no, not in particular. But I agree with you. We need to see women as experts on television and so on. But sometimes, you know, we have this problem when we organize a session. We try to have a gender balance in the session, and we end organizing the things, and we have plenty of men on on site, and it's difficult because the few women's that we try to have are already having something elsewhere because they are not numerous. So the same experts are in many other roundtables and so on. So it's still difficult, even if we have the willingness to do so. But it's a long process, and I'm sure we will have better results in the coming years. I don't know if Virginie has something to add to that, but.
Yes, I fully agree with what Camille said. It's there is kind of a vicious circle, in the sense that women are just underrepresented in science, so they are over solicited for this kind of events, and so they cannot be, attend as many events as they should be. So there is a difficulty in making the message as efficient as we would like it to be.
Stephanie, you told us, I think this was interesting, and you almost missed the opportunity to connect with your doctoral supervisor because you initially thought, I have no chance on this PhD position. Why was that? How come?
Yeah, so my PhD supervisor is in my view, a really famous professor in the field of like intersection of biomechanical changes. And I followed his research already really long time ago. And then like when he came from Cambridge to FAU, I was really excited, but also like, oh, I'm not sure if I have all the qualifications to be able to get into his lab. And then when I really goodly remember the first interview that I had with him, which was, I was only asking him if he would be interested in a collaboration because I was too shy to apply for his PhD position. And then like he was so friendly and open-minded, and he immediately asked me, like, do you want to apply for this position? And I think in the end, I was really lucky that he read my outreach to get in touch with him, and he gave me this amazing opportunity. But yeah, I almost missed out of being PhD student in his lab.
I think this is an issue many women are facing. I mean, I think it's important to be self-critical, of course, but I think women tend to doubt themselves too much, way too much. I think they should be more courageous, self-confident, and if there is a window of opportunity, you shouldn't hesitate to say, here I am, that's what I want. I would like to give it a try. I think this is something maybe we can learn from men. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. But like, it would also be helpful if we would have more like female scientists to reach out to. I know it sounds a little bit silly, but like seeing other female scientists encourages me a lot. So to support women getting into like higher hierarchies, that would be extremely helpful also.
Yes, and this is important, you're right. And also that's what I keep saying, ladies, you should support each other. It's important to have networks, to be to introduce one another. And if there's something popping up, you say, okay, I know a colleague, she might be the right one. I will introduce her, or I will inform her about this opportunity. I think this is important as well. So you can build up an international network, women in STEM. I don't know, Isabel, are there any further questions in the chat?
There was a question for Virginie up on the chat from Laura Tirlin. I think that we can address this question, and it's 11:15, so we can start with the wrap up afterwards.
Yes.
But Virginie, we had a question that I think it's did the boys' performance change as well depending on the wording of the test? It was a question from what you explained to us before.
Not as far as I know. I don't think, I must check, but this was not pointed out in the summary of the experiments that I read. I think they didn't care. But, or at least the difference was much, much less perceivable than for the girls.
I think we do not have, we have Ana Lordeiro, who shared her experience, but no more direct questions. So I think we can go to the wrap up, Magda, because we are 10 minutes from the end of the roundtable. So we can start our closure.
Yes, so I would like to ask our panelists for a closing comment. Maybe you would like to summarize the roundtable. What are your main takeaways, or now new ideas maybe for you university? Let me start with Gül. Gül Aydin from Istanbul.
Yes. Yes, could you ask again, please?
Yeah, sure. It's
Sorry.
just our wrap up to summarize this roundtable, our today's session. What are your main takeaways? What did you find inspiring, interesting? Maybe there's some new ideas now. We say this is something interesting for my university, or what is your vision? You're absolutely free to comment on whatever comes into your mind.
Yes, actually, I think there should be more, the projects should be supported by more institutions. I think I think all these stories is inspiring that panelists explain. And I can say that, of course, it is undeniable fact that the women have been overlooked in most files. And stories always affect people and past and role models. Past role models inspire the future role models. And I can say that, of course, people are inspired and admire these role models. And yes, I can say that as I mentioned in my own story, yes, in Turkey, only one woman engineer had been researched before in the past, and only this woman was highlighted and remembered. But I think it is not enough for the history of women in science and technology. We need to ask new questions. We need to create new stories. We need to do comparative and transnational research in order to understand past and reshape the future. Yes, I think there is still a lot we need to do. I can say that. And thank you very much for all panelists.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gül. I would like to go on with Camille from Paris.
Oh, yes. I talked a lot about the MOOC, and I said that it was a first step for us, in fact, and we would love to see other testimonies to be added to the MOOC. And I see, as I was listening to all the panelists here, that we could have many examples and role models from each partner institutions and enrich the tool we started a few months ago. So this roundtable was a very good way to start the dissemination of this tool, but I would like to make a kind of call of contributions here to the panelists and the people who are listening to this roundtable, and see if we can add testimonies, role models to this work and continue in phase 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Camille. Edith, would you like to share a comment summarizing our roundtable?
Yeah, thank you. I would like to share you our university policy. We have a gender equity plan, not only for increasing the number of female students, but also increasing the number of our researchers and professors at the university. And I think PR is very important. And to start let's say, capturing females from early ages, the university has a kindergarten. And also we have relations with other schools. And my colleagues go and have like a tour, or let's say when the stars going and have some tour around. We have some very talented young professors or PhD students who can go back to their own or some other high schools to have a kind of advertisement in which we can share the information, what kind of science they can learn here, and what about our social life, which is really attractive, and what else, and the open days. So we organize several open days when we let not only the girls, but also some other children, family, or any students or teachers to come and visit us, have an insight in our daily life, let's say. Mm-hmm. So I think our policy is very good. We worked on it a lot. And it seems working because our female student, the number of the female students is increasing, continuously increasing the last 8-10 years. And as a female researcher, I can say that the number of the colleagues are also increasing. Mm-hmm. So I hope this good policy can be adopted by others. And thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Edith, for giving us insights, and also what your university seems to do. Seems to be a great variety of projects, initiatives, and support. This is important as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main support is coming from the rector, and when he's dedicated or committed to something, he puts a lot of effort and then encourage all the faculties to do so.
Yeah, it's also a matter of changing mindsets and the whole university culture.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
We're running out of time. Thank you, Edith. Maybe Claudia from Madrid.
Hi. I think that the most important thing, in my opinion, is that we don't have to be afraid of this kind of thing. I mean, I think that being afraid of something that is unknown, I think that is something is normal that happens to everyone. I'm sure that any of you have been in a difficult situation that you were afraid to face. But I think that fears come from many things, because you can be afraid because you feel alone, because you don't have no one by your side to lean on, because you don't see yourself capable, because, as I mentioned, it's unknown. But I think that we, as women, we have to eliminate the STEM careers are not for us, because usually, in my case, the first thing that you hear like about STEM careers is like, it's difficult. And I know it's difficult. I'm doing a STEM career. It's difficult. I'm not telling that this is a lie. But I think that the most important thing is that after this phrase, like, this is difficult, there's no like, but listen, go ahead. This is what you want. I'm going to be here to support you. No? So to close this conclusion, I think that we have to think about this thing. That is, if we are building a world in which society and technology is the basis of growth and social change, how can we possibly build a fair and a balanced society if there is not even gender diversity? And how are we going to build a better society if we don't even reach the 30% representation in STEM studies? So I think the important thing is communication, to try to change the mind of the society. And we have to start from the beginning, as one of the panelists said, that since we born, we don't have to change it on the university or before. We have to change it from the beginning, and also with communication. That is really, really, really important.
Thank you, Claudia. And now I would like to travel from Madrid to Bucharest again. So what are your main takeaways from today's roundtable?
I think that by recognizing and addressing the intersectional challenges faced by women from vulnerable groups, we can create a more supportive environment and encourage, maybe greater participation in STEM studies. And also, maybe we need more projects that serves as a powerful example. My EduCare project. EduCare means educating young people with learning disabilities, who target women and can empower women from vulnerable groups. And thank you all for inviting me, and thank all the panelists for their insightful ideas.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Olivia. Virginie, would you like to share some closing comments with us?
Yes, thank you. Perhaps three messages to conclude. The first message would be to young women who are hesitating in pursuing scientific studies. My main message would be: do trust yourself. Don't do it on your abilities. Sorry, and don't hesitate if that's what you want to do. Just don't be afraid by the fact that there are not that many women doing sciences. Just go. You will be more than welcome. We'll be very happy to count you. Science is really wonderful opportunity to have exciting careers with wonderful challenges to be taken. So don't hesitate. Come. My second message would be for people who listen to these videos, parents, teachers, or future parents, future teachers. It has already been said, but it seems that a lot of things happened when it comes to the education of young children at a very early age. So please be all careful at your own level that you do not create even involuntarily gender biases that would be integrated by young girls or young boys. If whatever you can do to make these young children love science, boys or girls, don't hesitate. And my last message will be to thank a lot Isabel, Magda, and all the persons who have created this initiative for this invitation. And I would like also to testimony how École des Ponts is really happy to be part of this alliance. This is, well, not only because of the initiatives of today, but because there's so many opportunities and the great and nice thing to be part of this wonderful network. So thank you a lot.
Thank you so much. Andrea, you're the only male in this panel, so we really managed the gender imbalance today. Yes.
Yeah. No, indeed. Whenever I have to give this class, I always have a big imposter syndrome. You call it like this in English. I always afraid of questions like, "Why is a man telling us this?" Oh, so far, it didn't happen. Also today, everything was fine. It's important that this type of events is organized and handled by women. But I hope we all agree it is important that also males try to contribute at least a little bit in this sense. And I think I perceived this today. So thank you for this. And even starting from small initiatives, they can contribute if we keep doing them, if more people do that in a sort of distributed manner. Yeah, that was my take.
Thank you so much. And yes, I was really happy to be the moderator today and that you chose me. Thank you so much. I'm really honored representing FAU. So, of course, I'm a bit biased. So the floor is yours, Stephanie, representing FAU as well. And then I'll just have 2-3 sentences, closing remarks. And yes, we're in time, I think, 2 minutes.
So I think the FAU is already doing a really good job in making the possibilities for connection. And I think this is also a strong encouragement to other female young scientists to connect to each other, find your peers in the same group, but also 1 or 2 levels above, reach out to them and ask them how did you do? I have this struggle, please help me. Or what are your thoughts? What should I do next? And yeah, I think this roundtable is a really good starting point. So thank you so much for organizing it.
Yeah, thank you so much for participating today, sharing your experiences, giving some private insights as well. I enjoyed it a lot, and I think this EELISA Network University Alliance is so great, this collaboration and sharing experiences, collaborating, connecting with like-minded people all over Europe. And I think we keep going with our great initiatives. We can learn from another and collaborate. And yeah, I think everything has been said. We need somewhat reframing history, women in science, women in STEM, redesigning curriculum, textbooks, and the perceptions society has on women in STEM. I would like always to ask women, be courageous. Don't hesitate, as I said before, to approach your professors at your department and showing interest in applying for scholarships or for traveling funds, for publications. It's not about, helping women. It's about strengthening their expertise, strengthening certain skills, soft skills, in their field of studies. And then I have to stick to the publication. The sky is the limit. And well, don't fix the woman, fix the system. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Magda.
Thank you.
We will end up with the video of EELISA, and we can say goodbye. We say goodbye with our institutional video, and thank you all for participating.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
We'll keep in
Thank
touch.
you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, Magda. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Isabel.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Dear Laura, by the time you read this, it will be the year 2030. A year in which all people have equal opportunities, access to food, clean water and energy. We are all healthy and thousands of species on our planet are saved from extinction. That is what some grown-ups say. But today, almost 10 years apart, I wonder how we can accomplish that. My mom says there is a good chance to make it happen. If we all learn how to take the green path to a more sustainable way of living. If we embrace the know-how of experts, students, teachers, and society, and we connect it to real people's needs. If we mix disciplines, people, and ideas, we design technology and combine resources to solve challenges with love and creativity. If people go beyond borders to learn and work in cooperation with others, celebrating diversity and inclusiveness. My mom is a scientist and says
all these transformations have started, and I want to be part of it. That is why I will study to become an engineer in 2030. An EELISA engineer.